Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of our friends and families in cyberspace. We are grateful and thankful for the audience. We want to be very thankful and grateful to our host, Focus on Liberia, and its sponsors. I want to say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to my co-host, Mr. Edward Doe, and his family. We've had a great year, and we look forward to even a better 2021. As we go along, we would like to bring the year to a close. Even though this is not the end of the year for our last show, we would like to bring to you some of the things that are actually burning in Liberia, current events in Liberia. So today, in the advent of these past elections, we want to look at a few things. One of the things that we want to look at would be, what is the definition of inclusion? We are going to be looking at the risks and the benefits of an inclusive government. We are going to be looking at the banking system, but specifically the money shortage in Liberia. Is it real? It is artificial. We are going to look at that. We are going to be looking at appointments in government. Should we run our government based on competence, based on idealism, or based on let everybody chop? We are going to be looking at some potential candidates, presidential candidates. This election was funny, but were quite revealing. Now we are seeing everybody now thinks that they can be president, or they can be senator, because they have seen, for the first time in the history of Liberia, we are seeing a transparent election. So we are going to be looking at those 4 topics. With me is my co-host, Mr. Edward Doe. Mr. Edward Doe, Merry Christmas to you, and what is your take?
Well, Mr. Gaiman, thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you and a Happy New Year. Yes, as Mr. Gaiman said, we're going to be looking at these 4 or 5 issues, pertaining to Liberia. And I'm going to start off first with the benefits of inclusion, government inclusion. I believe that that inclusion, if the government includes the opposition or different competency, people that come and competent to run the government, you bring about diversity. You bring a culture of people that value individual competence, individual skills. You also bring about 3 important things. You bring about a social responsibility within the government. You also bring about innovation, creativity within the government, and also you also get with this inclusion, you get a better sense of investment on return in terms of work productivity and the kind of results. So I think the government of inclusion will benefit Liberia more because at this point in our history, we need a diversity in our government. We don't want a government whereby the president just appoint friends and family to work with him, or people that he's comfortable with. But you have to have people too with different ideas, people that can challenge the president, people that can disagree with the president. Those kind of things will help Liberia to get better and will help the Liberian government to get better. So, Mr. Gaiman, I believe you say it's a risky deal. Off camera, there's what you're saying. It's risky for the government to be a government of inclusion. So can you tell us why is it risky?
Well, Mr. Doe, thank you very much for your take. One of the things that we need to look at, those of us who have lived in the diaspora for so long, we want to run Liberia, or we want to do things in Liberia as we do it here in the diaspora, where we have a well-developed constitution, we have a well-developed culture, we have a nurture culture that understands idealism. Everything we do in this country is based on 2 ideals, and one is either conservatism or liberalism. Everything else falls within those realms. So we can say, for us, If our society was as developed at this age, it would have been quite possible to say, well, we have mechanism in place where we can bring in people from the opposition to come and help. Not only do they come in to help, but that we are going to be, like they say in Liberia, we will be spreading the wealth, political wealth. But as you know, in Liberia, there are no institutions, not one. We are hoping that CDC be the first institution in Liberia that may exist after George Weah leaves. As you can see, every organization, every political party in Liberia has been beholden to one individual, is that person with the money and the wealth, be it George Weah, be it Samuel K. Doe, be it Charles Taylor, be it Cummings, be it Urey, or Simeons. Those are the facts. Now let's look at what's obtaining now in Liberia. We have credible evidence that we all know that people who were from the previous administration, UPP per se, we are finding out that basically all the civil servant appointment that was made prior to George Weah were coming on were all UPPNs, that be people from the Unity Party, from the Unity Party. We also understand that the CPP criticized us or everybody else, that people like Prince Johnson and Sano Johnson and the killers should not be in government. And they have people clapping for them. And then we turn around, in the same breath, we're supporting someone like Brian Samukai. And we understand that, excuse me, let me land. I'm coming to this. We understand that when Brian Samukai, a convicted felon, was elected, we heard that the entire Ministry of Defense was upside down. They were cheering, they were partying because one of their own has been elected in the Senate. So what we are saying here is this is the risk that you take when you want to include people. So we are talking about people in the Defense Department that were leaking documents, leaking secrets, leaking everything that went on there because they did not like the guy who was at the top. So the risk is, if I'm a liberal in Liberia and comes to power, it will be almost impossible for me to bring Republicans on to hold key positions, knowing very well that a loyalty is not to the state like it is in the developed world, but it's to an individual. That is the risk we are talking about.
Mr. Gaiman, you're very much off point. First and foremost, I would like to say that we don't have anything like conservative or liberal ideology in Liberia.
I agree.
But we do have the CDC with their proper ideology. So if a person like me was hired, to be an inclusion, government of inclusion, will you hire me? He's going to be hiring me at will. And he's going to definitely tell me before he hire me or whatsoever that his idealism is proper. And before an employee like me in senior management want to work for a government like that, I have to agree, I want to promote this proper ideology. For me, yes, it's a good ideology. It's catered towards poor people. So I want to be part of that. So the idea that, if the CDC government becomes a government of inclusion, it's going to be risky, is false. As a matter of fact, it's going to be helpful to the CDC government because the idea they have here is very much gravitating towards, intellect like me, is gravitating towards people that have the skill set like me, is gravitating towards people, the technocrats, that can bring the government together, that can produce and help the government grow, help the economy grow, and help people to get out of poverty. So the idea that if the CDC government becomes a government of inclusion, using the proper ideology, using the proper standard, to govern, is risky. I just feel that you are off point on that, Mr. Gamer. And please don't talk about liberalism and conservatism. We don't have that in Liberia, so squash that discussion. Let's talk about a pro-poll. How is it risky if CDC becomes a government of inclusion?
Well, obviously, Mr. Doe, it looks like you are advertising yourself for a job that is not there. I see most of you guys who are looking for a job, you criticize the government that the government does not have quality people. And then at the end of your writing, you got a PhD, PPC, LSC, they list all the degrees and all of that. That wouldn't help you. So we don't have to hire Edward Doe to be inclusive. We have enough inclusion as it is. What I'm saying here is, for any ideal to work, including the CPP or the Liberty Party, I don't know whether CPP is a party, it's not a party, it's something else. But let's say Liberty Party or LPD or whatever the other political parties are when it came to power, whatever the ideas are, the pillars of the institution, like defense, education, finance, the central bank, we talk about Ministry of Agriculture, we're talking about the oil refinery, the port authority. All of those positions that are key has to be run by the folks from the political party whose ideology we are trying to implement. You cannot have the proper agenda that has to be promulgated by the government put into the hand of the opposition. Somebody who you have just defeated, somebody who said they do not believe in the pro-poor and they want to destroy, okay? And they told you why they would destroy it if they had a chance. Then because of this thing called inclusion, you leave out all of your people who are qualified, who could be held responsible, and you put somebody who has no skin in the game. They have no skin in the game. So what we are saying, this is the risk. Why will you be wondering why important documents, secret documents are leaking on a daily basis, or even cabinet notes are being leaked? Why? Because you have people amongst us or among you who do not believe in your ideas, and they want to make sure, first, they want to make sure that you resign. That didn't happen. Now they are geared toward 2023. So while inclusion is a myth, let's talk about the United States in comparison. When Trump became president, I'm a conservative. We love Trump. We support Trump, and we still support Trump. We didn't see him go to the Democratic Party or to Bernie Sanders and say, come in here and bring your socialist idea and help me run my conservative idea. He didn't go to Senator Warren and say, come here and run our banking institution because you qualify. We have all of these people that are qualified, but not qualified when it comes to our ideology. That's what's happening in Liberia. There are people who made up their mind that the CDC government is not qualified. They don't care who works in CDC. That is the narrative. So I want to bring you back on point, my friend. Get off from that little closet you're in, come out in the broad light, read the proper agenda, and let us see where we go, but including people. To me, the government president, we are now have to do a complete inventory, okay? Some of these folks are not working. Some of these folks are not working. We have to shake them up. We have to fire them. And I'm even firing you before you even apply.
Mr. Gaiman, you are definitely off point again. First and foremost, I'm not advertising myself for a job in Liberia. I'm very much happy with the housing authority that I currently work with. I've worked with state and local government agencies.
There you go again. There you go again, listing. There you go again, listing. Okay, so when I start listing, what I will be here all day, I get to the point. I want
to rebut your comment that I'm advertising for a job. No, I'm not. I'm happy with my position at the housing authority. And Mr. Gaiman, you constantly try to compare the U.S. with Liberia. You know, that analogy is off. It's definitely off. You can't compare the U.S. with Liberia in terms of the white folks. You know, the U.S. has more competent people in the white folks, more educated people in the white folks, and then the U.S. population is far bigger than Liberia population. So the comparison is off. You know, when you say that the U.S. that the Trump did not go to the Democrats, did not go to Bernie Sanders and all that, that analogy is off. All right. We are talking about Liberia. Liberia just came from a civil war, 15 or 16 years and 10 plus years civil war. All right. They have lost a lot of, knowledge. They have lost a lot of competent people all over the world, in the diaspora. Those people, those Liberians that are in Liberia today, they are not competent enough to do the kind of work that is needed to be done to bring Liberia back to where it's supposed to be. So it's incumbent upon this administration, the George Weah administration, to form a government inclusion. A government inclusion doesn't mean that, you can't have civilians in certain key positions. You want to bring in technocrats from the diaspora that can help the government, to get to where it's supposed to be and to promote its pro-poor policy. First and foremost, the Weah administration will be hiring at will. So if they hire, I'm giving you an example. I'm not advertising myself for a job. I could use you as an example, but you're a seditious, but I'm going to use myself as an example. If the seditious, if the Weah administration can hire somebody like me, they're going to definitely interview me. They're going to lay out their idealism. This is, listen, we are a pro-poor government. We want to promote a pro-poor. All our policy is pro-poor oriented, so your position here must be pro-poor oriented. Make sure all of those policies that you issue out or you are going to implement are pro-poor oriented. Fine. That's a good policy for me. I would like to work with and be part of. I like to help the poor. I want to build Liberia. So therefore, I would definitely want to join the CDC government to be a part of that pro-poor ideology. So the fact of the matter here is that if I'm coming or anybody else coming from the opposition or not from the opposition, but they are not seditious, they're coming with a clear mind because everything is being put before them before, they accepted the position. So the fact that you will be suspicious of these people coming in to leak a document, to do this one, to sabotage the government, is all false.
To a point,
all right? You're off point. You become so suspicious. This is some of the things that is killing the growth of Liberia. We are suspicious of each other. We don't trust each other. That is what you're saying here.
Mr. Doe, you were here you were here when Ellen Johnson Sirleaf came to power. She came, and when she listed her cabinet, you and I and everybody said, yes, she has an A team. This team is going to catapult Liberia to the next level. We have PhD, we have the experts and everything else that you could imagine. They have all these flattery resumes from all over the world, some fictitious, some legitimate. And look what they did. They were some of the worst that we have ever seen. We are talking about Liberia coming out of the war with the UN in full control of security, the economy, and protection of the president. And everything they wanted, they had. From 2006 to 2017, $17.9 billion US. And nothing to show, not even the infrastructure as far as public utility is concerned. There's no light in Monroe, there's no water in Monroe, there's no roads in Monroe, there's nothing. So what we are saying here is, if George Weah, President Weah, and the CDC, they are going to be bathed, they are going to be critiqued, they are going to be measured, they are going to be evaluated, and they are going to be held responsible, then he might well go ahead and recruit qualified seditians, more qualified seditians to do the job, and those who are not performing should be released immediately. While we are that, we have spent enough time. excuse me. Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
You said, Josh, we actually hire more qualified physicians.
Yeah, for those who are not performing, you have to do a quality control. You got to do an evaluation. For as you and I know now, there are areas in the Georgia government that are not performing.
Can I ask you one or two questions?
Yes.
Is Twe qualified for the position he's in?
Yes.
Is McGill qualified for the position he's in?
Yes.
Please list the qualification. Tell us briefly what makes them to be qualified for these positions.
Well, I'm not here to say what degrees they have, but based on performance.
No. Don't tell me about what degree. On their performance.
Based on
performance. Yes.
Based on performance, this particular Minister of Finance had done an exceptional job in explaining the policies, the difficulties of where we are, and some of the things that we need to do to move ahead. He has done that, and he has done that consistently. He
told us that we have a surplus. For the 12 years, Ellen was in power. It was always a shortfall.
That's
as
correct.
soon as Twe took over, he said we have a surplus.
Yes.
If we have a surplus, then why is it we're not seeing the benefit of the surplus?
Well, you are into finance. Surplus doesn't mean you have money wasted all over the place. Surplus means that we may have few dollars above our expenditure. We're talking about income here, okay? If we are talking about revenues, revenue and expenditure.
So what did he do with the surplus? Did he invest it? What did he do with that surplus?
You saw
the economy.
You saw why he suggested that Liberia begin to invest in other entities outside of Liberia for the first time. Liberia.
So that's what the government is doing now, investing.
That's what the government is doing. That's correct, to build reserve.
And then we say the government is a pro government.
Yeah, the pro government is now investing in other areas that will bring in money or other revenue to support our budget. You saw that. So
and
these are new ideas.
And then currently we have a money shortage, a money scarcity.
We come into that. But I'm just telling you what you are in finance.
But this is not.
We're talking about surplus. Surplus means that our revenue and our expenditure is short. It falls a little below our expenditure.
Can you tell me?
A little more.
Can you tell me what offshore companies that Twe invested this surplus in? Can you tell us that?
You were here when we decided to invest in the stock market. We have never done that before. Okay.
What stock did the government invest in?
I cannot tell you, but you know very well that for the first time, Liberia was able to invest outside of its own domain, and that's a plus. And those are the ideas that we are talking about. We have to bring in money outside of what we cannot generate money from the extracted industry anymore.
Why is it Twe financial report that he puts out does not include the stock portfolio?
Where is the financial report?
Go take a look at Twe financial report.
It is there. The portfolio is there. Anyway, let's move on. We have spent enough time on risk of inclusion. Now let's look at the money shortage in Liberia.
You're frozen.
Okay, let's look at the commercial banks. Let's look at the institutions in Liberia that handles money. What is your take on the shortage of money or the shortage of money? Is it legitimate or it is artificial? Is there politics going on with this money shortage?
Well, I don't understand what you mean by legitimate. Legitimate means that they make it legal for the money to be short, for us to have scarcity of money. So I think that's the wrong terminology you use there, Mr. Gaiman.
Okay.
And money scarcity, it means that the bank does not have, money in the bank, in the vaults to pay, to give out loans, to pay salaries. The circulation of money is no longer there. So in other words, there's inflation, in the country. And what produces inflation? The inflation, in my opinion, is produced because somebody is holding money in the house. Okay, somebody is holding money, and the money is not circulating. Could it be the business people, the Lebanese people? Could it be the government and government personnel that is holding money? Could it be also that designed to kind of make it more reasonable, to give it that support for the government to print new currency. So all those things is possibility. There's a possibility there. But one thing that I will tell you is that this government should not print any more money. They should find a solution to this money scarcity. They have printed 3 times within 3 years' time, hard currency for the same problem, and for no reason they have not solved this problem. We keep coming back to the same problem. The same problem reoccur every year. So the fact of the matter here is that this government is looking for another way again to print hard currency, and to me, it's fictitious. Either the government is hoarding money to print more money for somebody to pocket it, or the business people are hoarding money. And I think we need to reform our banking system. There's something going on with the central bank whereby they cannot get control of money that is printed, the circulation of money, and things of that nature. Could it be personnel issue? They don't have competent people there? Or could it be that we need some sort of reform, policy reform? So I would let you take off from there. One more last thing. Mr. Gimmett, would you please tell us why is it that we as government have not resolved this money shortage since they came to power for 3 years now?
Well, Mr. Doe, you are so much off point, and it so happens that our show is called On Point. If I were giving you point for the amount of time you've been off point, they would change our name from On Point to Off Point. So, Mr. Off Point Doe, you say you're in finance, you're an accountant, you work for some agency, and we understand that. When you get paid, when your check is released and you go to the bank or to your institution, you have no worries that the money is going to be there, your check is good. So we are looking at the issues of money, scarcity of cash within the vaults or within the system. Now let's look at, in this country, for you to open a bank, the reason we like to compare the United States system, anybody who wants to build a system, we say you have to use the model here. If it works here, 9 out of 10 times it's going to work there. So if you do it the right way, it's going to work. If you do it the wrong way, it's not going to work. Our banking system has never been built on the solid foundation as it is in the West. For instance, in this country, from my little research, I am not a finance person. I'm made to understand that every bank has to have a safe deposit of 20%, okay, of all banking institutions within the bank. That means if Edward Dodd wanted to withdraw all his money at once, at some point, there will be some guarantor that that particular person will get his or her money back. In Liberia, that is not the case. I don't know anybody that can tell you that the banks, all the banks in Liberia, and from what I have here, there are 9 private institutions in Liberia that call bank. I don't think there's any institution or regulatory institution in Liberia that have required that at all times you have to have at least 20% of your total reserve at all times available. None. From what I understand, most of the banks do not even have 5% reserve. So for instance, if Western Union, I think you got the numbers too, the Liberian from the diaspora sends home close to $550 million annually. The government, the Liberian government, total budget is about $600 million. So for the banks in Liberia to disburse $550 million through MoneyGram and Western Union and all of these agencies, how we send money home. For the bank to do that, which is usually based on reimbursement, If Western Union send you money today and you disburse that money, the money is not already there. The money has to take time to get there. So if you have 5% reserve within your bank and you're getting that much of an influx, you will always have a deficit. So you are right. At some point, the entire banking institution in Liberia has to be reformed, that we have to have legitimate, verifiable reserve that when money is needed, it will be disbursed and then reimbursed. Now, let's look at some of the solutions that some of us are looking at that the government can do. We are talking about a very illiterate populace. I, for the past year, have not used the banking system in Liberia. I have been using mobile money. I encourage all of my nephews and cousins that I send $10, $20, $50, $100 to have mobile money. I have 10 of my family members that are now on mobile money. That 10 less person that goes to the bank to get money, they don't stand in line anymore. I have my older brother who does not believe or trust in the mobile money. He still physically goes to the bank. He wants his money off the counter. So what we have to do while we are reforming the banking system, by educating our folk, even the market women, by educating them to do mobile money, we will not have the kind of money shortage we are talking about. Now, why is it that when my brother goes to the mobile money folks, they got enough money to pay him? When he goes on the streets with a $100 bill, US $100 bill, he can negotiate with the Madingo board, the Fula board there, and he has a whole box of money full of money. But yet, the banking institution, so you're talking about corruption to some degree. Yes, we are talking about people with money in Liberia who are illegally basically running our entire independent banking system on the street outside of the government, outside of the institution. Those are things that you and I and everybody has to. It has nothing to do with partisanship here. This is patriotism. We have two parallel banking systems, in fact, three. And the third major footing, the fault of our country, is the dual currency. If you go to Ghana, you go to Nigeria, you come into Ghana with your US dollar, you have to go right there to the foreign exchange and change it to Ghanaian cedi. You cannot carry your US dollar on the streets and expect to use it. In Liberia is the opposite. So we have the duality of, do we want to be Americans or do we want to be Liberians? Those two things are killing us. That's the scarcity of the money there, my friend.
Well, Mr. Gaiman, you were on point when you talk about dual currency. I totally agree with you. I think I've written a couple of articles on that, So yes, definitely I want for Liberia to get rid of the dual currency. It's hurting us. We're not benefiting from that. But Mr. Gaiman, you are off point on many other things. You mentioned that Liberia have been facing this money scarcity since independence. That's not true. All right. Since independence, Liberia have been going fine without this kind of money scarcity that we have been faced with, especially since the We Are government have come to power. In less than 3 years, we have all this money scarcity, no money in the bank, and some other things you mentioned, has cropped up in the We Are administration, whereby we have competing, money changers who are acting as banks, holding money, cashing money, and people not putting money in the bank again. You talk about deposit demand. Yes, definitely the government, the bank needs to have a deposit demand. It should be required. But how will the bank have a deposit demand if your government, your CDC government, is owing the bank? They don't pay the bank. They get money from the bank. They get loans from the bank. Or their employees, civil servants, go and cash a check. They do not pay the banks. How do you expect the banks then to recover? The banks have asking the government to pay them, reimburse them what they have issued out. And up to this point, the We Are administration have not paid this bank. So, Mr. Gaiman, you are off point by not bringing that up. I don't know. That is a real problem, and you should have some solution for that. Why is it your government, the We Are administration, the administration that you support, has not paid the banks up to this point? They are part of the problem.
Mr. Doe, for somebody, you see the reason why the people in Liberia, they look at people who look at us that consider ourselves educated folks, educated class, techno class, whatever class it is when we go home. You see what you are talking about, you throw numbers, you don't even throw numbers now, you're talking about we are government, the president, we are the administration owes the bank and doesn't pay the bank. You have no proof. You got nothing. You just throw these things out here. And I want to show you this. I don't know if you can see it. That is, I think you see your godmother. You see Ellen over there. Okay. We are talking about years back when the World Bank.
That's
listen to this.
That's a deficit.
Listen to this.
Money scarcity.
Listen to this. I'm pulling the articles. I'm pulling your articles so you can see some of the things we are talking about. Because when I'm talking, excuse me, sir.
Deficit.
Excuse me. Deficit means you do not have money.
No,
you cannot pay your bills. That's what we are talking about.
It doesn't mean that there's no money in the bank. It doesn't mean that there's no money in the bank.
Listen to this.
No money in the bank.
Listen to this.
Come on.
Scarcity of money, inflation, the deficit of the country means that either we overspend and we don't have money. Listen.
It doesn't mean there's no money in the bank.
We don't have money. We don't have money to pay. That's what it is. You make promises that you cannot keep. You take money from banks, you take money from people, you make promises, and you can't pay back. You are in a deficit. Your incoming revenue cannot reach the amount that you have to pay out. So these are all events that, Mr. Doe, I expect you to come here prepared. I expect you to make references. I expect you to make references to dates and time and amount. As a finance person, you should be coming here with numbers. Don't just come out here and say you owe the bank and you don't pay the bank. These are people that come out here with a false narrative. False narrative. So when you are talking about the president, CDC is not the first government that have faced this issue. It tells you that we have a fundamental issue that we all have. I just told you why we have suggested to the CDC government, in addition to other things. We are not bankers, but we are telling him. We are suggesting to the president that we should spend a little more money in educating our folks.
Mr. Gamer, you are monopolizing this conversation. You know,
you are off point.
I'm surprised at you that you will say that.
I'm putting on more article for you so you can see from the World Bank.
A deficit does not translate to money is in the bank or money is not in the bank. No, it does not translate. So you are off point. You know, I'm surprised that you don't know the meaning of a deficit.
Okay.
You know, you try to say the deficit, yes, overspent, the government overspent. It's like you have your own budget in your house. If you overspend the money, overspend in your own house, all right, you don't have the money. It doesn't mean the bank does not have money in the bank. It does not mean that. It does not translate that.
Mr.
All right?
Doe,
So this is what you're saying.
Mr. Doe.
Let me finish.
No, Mr. Doe. Let me bring it to point here.
Give me time. It does not translate to money is not in the bank. Deficit means that that entity or that individual overspent beyond the budget. Period. That's what it means. It means that you perhaps like you got credit card. Wait. Let me finish. When you're talking, you interrupted me. So it does not translate to money is not in the bank. We're talking about money is not in the bank. We're talking about money scarcity. You know, so it does not translate. So the example you brought in there for the 41 million deficit during the Ellen administration is not a good example. Go back to the drawing board and bring a better example to support this government owing the banks, which is part of the problem. If you owe the bank money, like in salaries and whatsoever, and you're not paying the bank, you took all the money out whatsoever, then what do you expect? CBL doesn't have money. Also, they cannot print any money. At this point, they have already circulated all the currency out there. So what is the government doing to solve this problem? The government is talking that they're massaging that they want to print more currency, think in the tune of $7 billion LD. That is too much money going on the market again. They recently printed 4 million or 4 billion LD. Now they come to print 7 billion LD. And then what happened to the donation, the Corona money that they got, the 48 million? What happened to that? They pocketed it. That money is not in circulation, you know. So there is something going on with this government in terms of money. They spend or they misuse money to a point now. Liberia, the banks in Liberia doesn't have any money. So bad. So do not bring in a deficit to make it translate
to a point.
You know, it equals to money scarcity.
Mr. Doe, and this is why we will look at you and say, you really have no idea what you're talking about. When you say, when I overspend my budget in my household, it does not affect the bank, you just don't know what you are talking about. Because most of the things that we do at home, they are electronically done. If I give out a check and the bank pays that check and I don't have that money in the bank, I am actually taking money from the bank that I don't have. That means the bank doesn't have that money until I replace it. They may charge me a fee for paying for my check in advance, but I am taking that fee, I am taking that money from the bank for as long as I want until I can pay that bank back. So yeah, the bank, if the government spends $41 million that it doesn't have, that money, that deficit is owed to the banks, is owed to individuals, it owes everybody, and everybody that is owed actually has less money. Why we are not banking experts, from what you are saying here, at least you say the government is about to print 7 billion LD, but you're not showing me where you're getting that source from, nothing. So you are just one of those folks who are out there who just come out, like I think you were one of those, and some guy sitting in some refugee camp in Morocco said the president is on his way to Basel to change the tally sheet, and everybody all going crazy because they do not believe in facts. They don't believe in what is actual. They just believe on hearsay. And for a man like you who say you are a finance person that work with number every day, for you to sit here and don't put the date and time that a bill will pass, that 7 billion should be printed, it tells a whole lot about who we are in the diaspora. Well, we have spent a lot of time. You have spent a lot of time.
Let me make one last comment.
Yes,
you're not going to just leave me hanging there like that. I didn't say a bill was passed. I said they're massaging the idea to print 7 billion LD. I didn't say anything about bill was passed.
I don't know what massage is because I don't do massage. You say the massage. Now let's go to our next one. Let's look at appointments in government. I listened to the senator from Nimba County. He made some legitimate points. And we have to be honest here as Liberians and discuss some of these things. And I'm going to give my idea about it. He said, appointments in Liberia as it stands, whether the president did it subconsciously or he did it with some conspiracy in mind, he thinks that based on his tally sheets, all the important agencies in Liberia, 30 of them he named, everybody that were appointed in those positions came from the Southeast. All 6 counties, Bassa, Riverside, Sino, Grand Gila, Maryland, River G. Those are the counties he blames that are actually occupying or running this government. He believes that the president should make a concerted effort to introduce a quota system where the government position should be divided along region. And I was a little surprised. At first, people said that George, we are eventually going to be a travelist. He's going to hire all crew people. But now they have gone from tribalism, they are now switching to sectionalism. They have divided us in along tribal line. George, we are knocked that down, and now they are going to sectionalism. That means you and myself and Mr. CA and Dennis Jar, everybody else who are qualified should not apply for any job in Liberia because we got too many crew, Bassa, River folks that are highly educated and exposed. So he is suggesting that we go to the quota system. While I disagree with him, I think he has a point. In these United States, again, they introduce and we do use quota system in everything we do. In my place of hire, just recently, the past 2 years, the last 30 hires that I have done, I have to seriously, my board of directors have to tell me that you have to diversify. You need to go out and do all you can to hire more Hispanics. So we created 3 positions. We spent a lot of money on Hispanic radio stations in the different areas, in the newspapers, recruiting qualified Hispanics. So does Prince Johnson have a point here? Even though people from the Southeast were blessed to be educated by the establishment for the past 270 years, we are more exposed. We have other those things that are required in the elite class of Liberia. Should we then now switch to maybe regional quota system instead of just pre-qualifications? What you think?
Well, I think that it's a good idea to have diversity in the workplace, especially in government, and whether a quota is the proper tool that will bring about that diversity. I'm not sure about that. I think this is something that the government have to study further and do more research on before they can implement that or turn that into a policy. But in the same token, how would this work? Would this work based on, hey, I'm going to bring John Brown in. I feel that he's more qualified, he's competent, and he's not from the Southeastern, so therefore he's from the West Eastern. So we have to meet these quota goals. So therefore we're going to hire him, even though he's not qualified for the position. That becomes problematic. That becomes problematic. So then what's happening here then? We're going to have less people in positions that are not qualified, and then productivity will sink. So yes, it's a good idea, but I think it's an idea that needs to be studied, needs to be looked into, and perhaps let's look at other countries, our neighboring countries. Let's look at the hiring process in government. Let's look at Ghana. How do they do it? Perhaps Sierra Leone, perhaps Ivory Coast. How is the hiring process? These are some of the things that the government needs to send, HR, our civil servants, head of our civil servants, to some of these countries for training and to look at their hiring process. If it's something that we want to venture into, maybe they're not doing quota system, but they're doing a system that is more equitable, a system that is more diverse, that make diversity goals. So therefore, we can just look at, what Prince Johnson said, and then boom, run with it and write a policy, and that policy we implement it, and then it's not working. So I would suggest that the government give it some thoughts. The government take a look at some of our neighboring countries, what the hiring process is. Everything just shouldn't be America to America. Ghana is doing something like that, similar. And we have the same culture. We're Africans, we should look at their process and see what they fit into our process. Or we can take some of their process and blend it with the American process to make it work for us. So it is not a bad idea. We want diversity in the government, but we have to do it carefully.
Well, I understand. How does that fit the opposition? Well, this is not an opposition thing. We have always agreed that government should bring on the best and the brightest. So we are saying that we should only look at a resume and do the background check, and don't look at even the name, or don't look at where the person comes from. To be fair, it should be equal justice. Just put your resume on the table. If you are qualified for the job and we can prove that you can do the job, you have done it in the past, you'll be hired. What Prince Johnson is saying, that has happened. He said, but he dug a little deeper and found out that all the qualified people came from the Southeast. So what he is saying here is, we should now include maybe a travel line on our job application. And if Rodney C. or Anthony C. or Edward Doe shows up, and Edward Doe is qualified for the job, but he's from the Southeast, we're going to tell him, say, listen, we know you qualify for the job. We know you can do the job, but we got too many people from the Southeast. So we'll let you go and hire somebody from the North or Central Liberia. They may not be as qualified, and I'm not saying that they are not, but that is the pitfall for what Mr. Prince Johnson is saying, and it's a premise that is dangerous to our democracy. I don't think we should look at it that way. Maybe the middle ground may be that we hired an independent hiring consulting firm who will actually do the vetting and hire according to qualification, but not based on sectionalism, tribalism. This going election, if you saw what Mr. Dillon said, he said, we have Sir Joseph as the senior senator for Monserrato County. We have Tamakoji as the mayor of Monserrato County. And he said, no way that the people should vote for another T5 because we'll be turning Monserrato into Gisi Town. Those are things that I think we should all frown upon, okay, and condemn. But on the other hand, the hypocrisy in us went and took it and said, yes, we agree, there are too many Gisi people that should not be running Monserrato. So now here we are now saying the folks from the Southeast, yes, it so happens that everybody along the seacoast benefited from the settlements. And through that, we were able to do things beyond what other people did before the integration of the country. So yes, people from the Southeast travel more. They were privileged to higher education in the West. Like Barker Matthews said, it all boils down to orientation. So our orientation is a little more advanced or older in nature than those from the North, from Lofa, Bong, Central Liberia, and all of that. So will you be fair, Mr. Doe, to go for an interview for which you are duly qualified and can do the job and competent, but we tell you, Mr. Doe, at this point, we have too many qualified people from the Southeast. Mr. Gaiman, we cannot hire you today. You're from Bassa. Too many folks are benefited from Bassa. So we want to bring in some folks from Bong, from Nimba, from Grand Jita, from Lofa. Do you think that is workable?
It is workable. I mean, you always use America. America has an affirmative action, yeah. And it has been going on for a while. It's a preference issue. You know, so a preference white too, because it brings about diversity, it brings about equity. So if this policy is looking for equity, if our hiring process has no equity in it as currently, then it would be a good thing for us to have something like affirmative action or something like a quota. Quota is too much of a derogative. There'd be something of affirmative action. You know, that will give preference to people who are disadvantaged, you know, or certain tribes or certain sections that are disadvantaged. They're not in the government, they're not in the workforce, you know, to bring them on board and provide our equity in our employment, government employment. So therefore, I think, yes, it's a good idea. I don't think we should frown away from it. I don't think we should walk away from it, you know, especially so if there's no equity in our hiring process. What Prince Johnson is saying, maybe there's no equity in our hiring process. I don't know where you got the data from. What did the data suggest that he's looking at? But if the data suggests that there's no equity in our hiring process, there is more sectionalism, there are more people from different regions it's been high in government than other people, then we need to give preference to those other people to make the playing field equal and bring about equity and diversity. So I think it's an idea that we should not walk away from, but we need to study it. We need to do most research and look at the data if there's data to prove that we can look at and to support, whatever we want to do in terms of affirmative action or in terms of quota.
Thank you very much. I think Prince Johnson is up to something. I have to give him credit. He listed, I have the document here. I'm going to pull it up soon. He listed 30 positions. He gave the names and the qualification, and they were all qualified. He had no issue with their qualification. The issue was that it turned out that they all came from the Southeast. And he was thinking that the government should do something like an affirmative action. And I agree with you on this one, that it may not be something, it may be hurtful to you and me who have worked for where we are. And when the government asks you to come home and give your quota to developing your country, and someone tells you, well, Mr. Gaiman, we have had enough of you guys from Grand Bassa County. So at this point, we got to pass you. I don't know how I will react. I don't know how other folks will react. But based on what we have used here, it has helped the American system. It has helped our cultural diversity. It has helped the orientation, because now we have people like us who were privy to the affirmative action, to have gone to good schools, good institutions. And based on that, we were able to get good jobs and live a good life to move into a different echelon of society. So it's quite possible. We are running out of time here. We will come back to that. You can address that. At least today, we agree on few things, and that's progress. Let's go real quick to the upcoming 2023 presidential elections. We are talking about the proliferation of potential candidates in Liberia, about the politics, about the presidency. Now, from your dossier, from where you sit, I know you have tons of names, possible names or candidates to begin with. But this year, next year, this time, most likely the list is going to increase. So let's look at the potential candidates in Liberia and why you think they have a shot. And I give you a first crack at it.
Well, I will take look at Dillon. Darius Dillon has a potential.
We are going from one to So your first choice is Dillon, you say?
Yes, as a potential candidate. He brings a lot of high power. When I say high power, means he has a lot of good followers. He's a strong activist, and if he do well in the Senate for his new term, I'm hoping that he will seek the president, the pro tem position, form a caucus to get a vote of no confidence in the current pro chair, so that he can seek that position, obtain that position, and then he can, wiggle his gavel a lot, and that would give him some sort of administrative, experience, so that he can do well and maybe contest for the presidency. Now,
okay, number two.
Now, my second choice, not too favorite for me, but Cummins, is my second choice. But I have a caveat to that. Cummins, he has the potential. He's educated. He's a corporate man. He worked in a Fortune 500 company, Coca-Cola in Pittsburgh. So he has that administrative experience. But what Cummins lacks is what Dillon has. Cummins lacks that interpersonal skills, that people skills. Cummins lacks that, how can I describe it? He lacks the potential of winning people on his side, bringing people to join him. He's not a good communicator in terms of meeting people one-on-one and convincing them. I've met Kami in person. He's kind of shy away from people, so he's not a person that can engage people one-on-one. So I doubt whether he can engage people in the crowd the way Dylan has it. So he's my number two. But I think they will work together, both of them, if Cummings go as the number two and DeLong go as number one for the 2023 presidential election. That's my take.
Mr. Doe, you see the hypocrisy in people like you who are in the opposition is so glaring. At some point, 2005, they said George Weah, President Weah, should not contest because he does not have the requisite education and the degrees and all of that. And it would behoove him to go back to school, get some education, come back, and then run. We said that to all of our brothers. When you and I were growing up, we were told that our only means to success climbing the corporate ladder was that we get some quality education and the requisite experience to go along. So here we are. That standard applies to President Weah. He went back to school, he got his degree, came back, and they made him president. Now here we are. You, as one of those that were blowing this bullhorn about the credential, the importance of education, that it was germane to success. And here you are trying to put Dylan, a middle school dropout, above Cummings, who has an MBA, has proven himself in corporate America, that he has done all of those things. He's exposed to working across the aisle. He's exposed to doing budget. He understands budget. All of those prerequisites that we need for any corporate leader. We say to be a president, you need to be a manager. This guy has it all. For you to say now that all of those things that we are required of our leaders no longer counts. It's perplexing. For me, I have only one candidate, and that candidate is Dr. George Mane Opon Bekube Weah. Dr. George Mane Opon Bekube Weah is the candidate of choice, the people's candidate, the most tested candidate, the most oriented candidate, the most exposed candidate, a man who has wine and dine with kings and queens, a man who can go out and people worship him because of his success. He is the man. And you are talking about Dylan's, he's affable. He's somebody that is a people's person. That is George Weah. You won't call him a people's person, you will call him a populist. Then you're talking about Cummings has money, he has education, he has traveled, he has tasted success. George Weah have those. So all of those things that you are looking for in a president, they are all encompassing George Weah. So my friend, thank you very much for nominating George Weah as the ultimate success story and the right man for the job, because you just described George Weah. You said Dylan is the guy who is a people's person. People like him, George Weah. You said Cummings has some success. He's well-traveled. He got education. That's George Weah. So thank you very much, and I agree with you. For the first time on 3 occasions, you and I agree, George Weah is your candidate of choice.
Mr. Gamer, you are off point. I'm sorry to say that your analysis about George Weah was very comical. The past 3 years, we received nothing from George Weah. We got nothing from him. The only thing we got from him is 4 releases of music. Mr. Liarman, the birthday song, and the Corona song and Woki Woki song in 3 years' time. That's what we got from Mr. George Weah. Now, Mr. Dillon is far better than George Weah. Mr. Dillon can articulate the issues far better than George Weah. Mr. Dillon is a quick learner, can learn on the job some of the things that he lacks, on the job. George Weah has been chasing the presidency for 12 years before he got it, did not learn anything, and still has not learned anything. He's not even learning on the job. All George Weah wants to do is make music, get in the studio, make music. All George Weah wants to do is chase women. All George Weah wants to do is good time, go to his famous bar or restaurant that you own and have fun. So this is not what we want in a president. We want somebody that is serious about policy, somebody that's serious about making laws. George Weah went to the Senate. For the time George Weah stayed in the Senate, he was not even there. He was patrolling all over Europe during the World Cup season. He did not sit in the Senate for any vote, for any laws that are supposed to be passed. George Weah does not read. George Weah does not write. Unlike George Weah, Dillon writes very well. He speaks to the issue very well. He understands the issue very well. He understands Liberian people very well. And he's a good activist. Dillon means more to Liberia than what George Weah means to Liberia. So, yes, I put Dillon above Cummings because Cummings does not have the personality to gather the vote for him to win and become president. Dillon can help me on that. Now, if I make Dillon number 2, that ticket will not be a winning ticket. The winning ticket will be Dillon on top of that ticket and and Cummings to the bottom of the ticket. And Dillon can learn a lot from Mr. Cummings, So therefore, the ticket that I provided can definitely beat George Weah in 2023. George Weah is not going to be re-elected in 2023 with the ticket of Dillon and Cummings.
Mr. Doe, you make educated people look bad. For you, who is a number person, to come out here and say that the president has done absolutely nothing. Yes, we got 15 minutes. Okay. So here we are. You are saying that the president has not done anything. You're negating the rural development. You're negating the free education at the public universities. You negated the monetary aspect of private institutions being paid because of the hardship. You are neglecting the scholarship scheme that have been set up to send professional doctors now to specialize in Liberia. And the list goes on, and I know you're going to call me a praise singer as we speak. People are working around the clock to install the light poles, transformer that have been brought into the country because he promised that he was going to actually light up the city. The city is dark. And you've seen those projects. You've seen the project on the way, the RIA highway. You've seen all of these things. You've seen the Redemption Hospital, the largest hospital in West Africa that is being built. You've seen all of these things. But yet and still, the reason that most of you do not have any credibility is because you don't give an iota of credit to where credit is due. You are saying that this man is completely zero because you dislike him. And you want to now flip-flop and saying that the likes of Cummings should be Vice President Dillon. You are actually disgracing us that spent years going to school, qualifying ourselves, and doing well in our profession like you are. You went to school and you are working in the housing department. Mr.
Gemma, you can't get up there in 15 minutes now. Let me come
in. Saying that what you have learned, what you have earned,
Mr. Gemma,
means absolutely nothing.
Mr. Gemma, I'm surprised at you.
Your closing remark. We got 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
So let's go to your closing address that and come up with your closing remark.
Mr. Gamer, I'm surprised at you. You are supporting a president that really didn't even complete high school, and rushed himself, through some sort of a college, online college. Somebody did his work, can barely speak, can barely write. Dylan writes better than this man. Dylan speaks better than this man.
What public policy paper have Dylan put out?
Wait.
No, give me one public policy paper that Dylan has put out.
You interrupted me. You said I got
I'm not. I want you to be factual.
I'm coming there. You interrupted me. So you're going to extend my time. You took 2 minutes away from me. Dylan speaks well. Dylan knows the issue very well. Dylan self-educated himself. You heard about Abraham Lincoln? Abraham Lincoln did not go to school. He self-educated himself. And Dylan is one of those modern person that self-educated himself. He did a pretty good job at that. Dylan is well-versed. He writes very well. The president that you support has a honorary doctorate degree. He has a master's degree in sports. And still yet, he can write well. He can write. He cannot speak well. He doesn't know the issue. And then you say that you're not disgracing educated people like us. You are disgracing educated people like us. For you to be supporting this man, come on the public media and support him and say that he is doing everything fine. The 14th Military Hospital, why is it everybody's going to Ghana, all the senior officials? We have a hospital there, but it's not in operation. So why are you talking about? Let me end with my closing argument. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this show. Mr. Cayman, thank you so much also for being the host of On Point on FOL. I'd like to thank Anthony Sear and Mr. Dennis Ja, for allowing us to come on the platform and, argue the issues, converse, and let the Liberian people know what we stand on issues. As you have seen, Mr. Gaiman has been off point on all the issues that we discussed today. He supports this government to the teeth, which I praise him for, but somebody got to do it. Somebody got to support this government. And Mr. Gaiman, I definitely admire your dedication in supporting the We administration. But I'll tell you though, my ticket, or the ticket that I suggested, the DeLong and Cummings ticket will knock off the We ticket in 2023. I end there.
Okay. In closing, Mr. Doe, thank you very much for your take on the issues. While we disagree on many things, I would like to remind our folks that this is for Liberia. We are all Liberians, and we want to be as civil as we can, hold our feet to the fire if we can. We have to be based on facts and not innuendo. Now, my well-learned brother, Doe, from the Southeast, like I am, is now going back to Abraham Lincoln. Now, there's no need for you to go to school. There's no need to go to medical school. There's no need to go to law school. You can self-educate. That's the new Liberia that he wants from Dylan. And then he also addressed
that is not the point I try to make.
I'm closing, sir.
That is not the point.
I'm closing. Why are you doing this?
All right.
He talking about government officials going abroad. He forgetting to know that President Totman died in London. Okay? He forgetting to know that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf comes to America twice a year for her medical treatment. And when she comes, it's a public speculation. It's in the newspaper. They escorted her to the airport. And when she comes home, she said, I have a clean bill of health from Johns Hopkins University. So you see the flip-flop here. We say George Weah and the CDC, we should be educated to the T to run government. Then on the other hand, we say Dylan and the likes can run the government. They don't need education. They can self-educate. He said Dylan can articulate and write the issue. Dylan has been in the Senate government 2 years. He has not written one policy, one paper on the economics, on healthcare, on students, on the plight of the folks. So my folks, here we are. We are discussing the issues that are affecting Liberia. If you have questions, if you have suggestions for On Point, please send it to our folks here on Focus on Liberia. They will be so kind as to make that a topic. If you feel like if you are a number person and you want to take on Mr. Doe on the issues of numbers, he's willing. If you want to take me on public policies and issues in social science, I'm willing to debate you. We are all Liberian. Thank you very much for watching. Happy holidays to you all. And happy Hanukkah to our Jewish friends out there. Thank you very much and God bless.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.